Hey guys, welcome back to this video, and it's all about unleashing your potential. Now, if you haven't listened to or watched the previous video, please go ahead and do so. You will find out two powerful ways to make complete changes in your life. They will really instigate change, and they're vital when you are making changes. I mean, they're vital if you want success, whether it be in your health, your relationships, your career, your finances. Without those two components, you're really going to be missing on the transformation. So please go ahead and do that. Watch it if you haven't already. Now, on this video, I like to be taking things a step forward, you could say. Because on the first video, we were talking about assuming responsibility, taking ownership over our life, and rather being a product of life, allowing life to be a product of what we choose to create. Now, that is immensely powerful. And then secondly, I talked about the power of focus. Do you remember the internal GPS that we have? That if you're focusing on what you don't want, your brain is wired up and geared up to actually seek out more of it. And the exact same thing, if you focus on what you want and how you want to be, you will unconsciously, your brain will seek out those things too. It really doesn't discriminate between the two. It will just seek it out. So our focus is so important. And I hope you've been applying that right now, because you will see great changes. But I want to add to that now, because it's one thing taking responsibility and also changing our focus, but what happens next? Because I know those two processes and those two ideas are so powerful, but how can we increase it and supercharge ourselves to make it happen quicker and better and more easier than ever before? And that's exactly what I'd like to be talking to you today. Because it's not just about those two ideas, it's far deeper than that. And I want to give you the inside information of your brain to make things happen. So whether it be about your health, your relationship, your career, your finances, or very specific things, there are other things that I want you to start applying in your life. And I'm going to guide you through those, okay? So what we have to do is realize that if we have an issue in our life, say if you have anxiety, or if you have money issues, or relationship issues, the problem isn't necessarily about the external world around you. It's about what's happening on the inside. So if you have anxiety, depression, negative mindsets, not believing you're good enough or worthy, it just means that you're out of rapport with yourself. Now that sounds very strange, because what I want to really get across is that if your body and your brain, your emotional state is not working for you, it must mean you're out of rapport with it. And what we have to do is bridge that gap and come together as a whole. I mean, think about it. If you've got an issue, you feel conflicted. And that if there's a conflict, there's two separating parts. There's two separating parties or more. And those are battling each other. So it's almost like we're battling with ourselves. But the real secret is we don't have to battle any longer. Because you may be thinking, well, my issue is so bad and I hate my body for doing this. I hate my brain for thinking in this way, for having negative self-talk, for believing I'm not good enough. And when we get into that, we're actually deepening the conflict. We're getting more separation. So our goal is to get back into that wholeness, to get back in that congruency and alignment that allows things to come together on your terms. You see, if you've got an issue, you may be thinking, well, why am I like this? Or why does my body do this? I dislike myself. And we start to have that self-hatred to ourselves or the issue. But I'm going to propose to you, we must change our perception of our issue. And let me put it very bluntly, your mind and body is not here to sabotage you. It may feel like it. It's not here to hurt you. It's not here to make you feel depressed. It's not here to make you feel anxious. It may feel like that, and I completely understand, because I've been there. I've believed I'm not good enough. I've felt anxiety, self-consciousness, social anxiety, you name it. I've probably been there. But once I began to realize that actually my mind and body is actually just either firstly confused, or it's just misguided. You see, when issues came about in our life, they probably came about under stress. I mean, think about it. If you've got an issue right now, did it come by through an amount of stress? Or maybe when you were young and you didn't have all the resources to be able to deal with that in the right way. In other words, you didn't have all the learnings, you didn't have all the hindsight that you do now. Now, if you think about it, at the time, under stress, not having all the inside information and hindsight, your brain made a decision in a split second to probably be a certain way or to dislike something. Now, it did it for the best intentions. Now, you might be thinking, Joseph, how did depression come about with good intentions? How did this anxiety or panic attack or my money situation, my jealousy come about with good intentions? Well, think about it. Whatever your issue is, despite the behavior being terrible or not so good, the intention behind it is the thing we need to work on. Okay, so we need to be able to get in touch with that. Think about if you have the belief of not being good enough or not feeling worthy, what's the intention behind that? Because we know the results mean that we're not going to go for that job, or we're not going to go and do that presentation, we're not going to go into that relationship. But the intention is really a protective mechanism. It's almost like your brain saying, what if this happens? I'm not good enough, so it's better to stay in my comfort zone. So your brain is trying to do this self-protection mechanism to keep you safe based on our past experiences. And it's thinking about those past experiences and trying to keep up with this habitual response, no matter what it is. I mean, think about this. If you've got a fear or phobia, what's the intention behind that? Well, your body's trying to protect you. It may seem absolutely ridiculous to you. I've worked with people with fears of buttons or fears of tin foil. Now, they know that logically tin foil is not going to do anything bad, or the button on the shirt is going to do anything bad. However, the brain, the unconscious mind, has made a mistake in its association and thinks it's negative. So if you have a fear of dogs, what's the intention? Your body thinks that dogs are fearful. It's kind of like generalizing it to all dogs, maybe because of one bad experience. And we can branch this out onto so many issues. I mean, even things like migraines. Migraines usually come about when we're under stress, and our brain is telling us to get out of that situation. So it gives us the signals of pain to pay attention to and then cut out the stress, or to get out of that situation. The migraine itself, horrible, but the intention, positive. Now, that's what I'd like you to do. I want you to think about, well, what's my body trying to do? It's almost like seeing it as a child. It's maybe thinking, so you come home from work one day and your child has painted this beautiful picture, but it so happens to be on your wall, okay, in paint. And you're thinking, oh my goodness, it's on my wall, and how am I gonna get this off? And we can get maybe frustrated. But what was the intention of that child? Or to draw us or paint us a picture, to please us. But the behavior, not so cool. I mean, it's not very cool at all, in fact. So think about that in terms as our body sometimes, our unconscious mind, being like a child, is trying to please us, but it's done it in the wrong way. And we have to get back into rapport with ourselves and re-educate it. We've got to say, okay, now I'm thinking about the positive intention here. What's my body trying to do? What's my brain trying to do by experiencing an issue of some sort? Or what's the intention behind not wanting to achieve a goal? Maybe self-sabotage. Whatever it is, we look for the positive intention. When we look for the positive intention, we're reconnecting with the source of why your body does what it does. When we go there, we can go, okay, let's keep the safety, let's keep the protective mechanism, but generate a new way of being. That is where you'll start to re-educate and retrain your mind and body to get the results that you want. That's where the real magic happens. So let's think of an example of how we can do this. Well, the great way of how we can do this is by getting the mind to understand there's another way of doing things. So we're almost giving it an alternative behavior or an alternative response. So rather than the lack of belief in yourself, of not feeling good enough or worthy, or maybe whether it be about migraines, as I said, or fears or phobias, that's one strategy. That's what your body's doing already. How can we actually give it a new strategy to run by, which still gives us and satisfies the intention or the motive as to why our body does it? Well, here's what we do. We begin to hallucinate in our mind in a way that causes our brain to realize there's another way of doing things. So here's what I'd like you to do. And I want you to do this for a period of time, preferably once a day, maybe twice a day if possible, maybe in the morning when you wake up and also in the evening as you go to sleep. And here's what you do. You begin to hallucinate how you'd like to act and react in those situations. So if it was about presentation skills, you begin to see yourself doing presentations how you want to be. Remember the power of focus on video 1, how powerful it is? That's what we're doing. We're really emphasizing that in a new way. We're getting our mind to rehearse how you want to be in the positive, being safe still exactly how you want to be. So whatever issue you may have, you begin to hallucinate how you'd like to be. But to make it even more powerful, we do this in a dissociated way. Now, if you don't quite know what that means, all it means is seeing yourself in the movie. So it's not like you're looking through your own eyes doing it. You're seeing yourself outside of your body, looking at you, doing exactly what you want to do. And you do it from the beginning to the end. And you keep rehearsing in your mind every day exactly how you want to be different. And you can do this for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and all we're doing is reprogramming and repatterning our brain to think differently. And what it happens is it causes the brain to go, oh, this is the new strategy. You're almost pre-teaching it how to be different. And you're providing it the solution that you want. So let's have a quick recap already. First of all, we're realizing our body's trying to do a good thing. Therefore, we're getting back into rapport with our system. Therefore, the conflict becomes like resolved as one. We're getting it on our side. And then we're supplying it with a new strategy. So you're saying, I want me and you, my unconscious mind, to act this way. And then you play out the scenario in your mind exactly how you want to be. Now, the reason why we do it in a dissociated way is that way that your brain can really see the whole picture, and also there's no negative feelings there. So maybe if your issue was about anxiety, you don't want to be looking through your own eyes because sometimes the anxiety can creep in. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's not really pre-teaching in the right way. So when we do it in a dissociated way, seeing ourselves in that picture, we're taking away all the emotion. We're taking an outside look, which then gets your brain to do that as well. And it will actually begin to perceive that as the new strategy. You're automatically telling that child, this is what I'd like you to do with the pain on a piece of paper. And it will start to do that over time. And it will start to create those wonderful pictures for you, those wonderful results for you on your terms. That is an amazing way of making changes. So we're realizing now, it's not about hating ourselves or disliking the issue. It's about reconnecting. It's about reconnecting and re-engaging and repatterning how our brain works. That is a profound way of changing. Now, once we do that, we then start to take inspired action on it. Okay, because it's one thing hallucinating it in your mind, it's another thing doing it in reality. But so once we start to hallucinate, we start to take action on our goal. And we do it in a way that causes us to feel good. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't want to just go straight into a presentation if it was about presentations. Or you don't want to go maybe up to that dog when you've got that fear about it. So what we do is we slowly educate our brain by introducing the small steps. Many people will go from there's where they are and just jump in to the end situation of how they want to be. But because that's quite strong and that's quite a big leap, we actually then begin to backtrack. So here's what I propose to you. You start to come up with intermediate steps which lead you to that goal. It's almost like doing the subtle steps which create the biggest leaps in transformation. So we're really getting our brain to do it in a slow but comfortable way. Now, of course, I can show you other ways of how to do this in a very quick, profound fashion, but right now I want you to be able to just slowly come up with those intermediate steps, things which you could do. So let's just say you had social anxiety, but you don't necessarily want to go in a big group of people. So what you do is you may go up to someone on the street and go, "Excuse me, do you know the time?" Now, for that person, you know there's no expectation, all they're going to say is a time back. But it's not maybe as overwhelming. I mean, it could be still, of course, depending on the degree of your social anxiety or anxiety, whatever it may be. But sometimes that could be perceived as a small step. So we do the small step first, get great at that, and start to gain that confidence. Now, when you start to gain that inner confidence, your brain actually becomes aware of that and actually realizes there's actually a past set of situations where you've done things similar to your end goal, but to a smaller degree, and you were fine. And then it starts to expand your comfort zone. So you're actually doing this unconsciously. You're doing it in a way that actually gives your unconscious mind the space of growth in a comfortable and calm way. So that's what we're going to really be doing, hallucinating in our mind exactly how we want to be in a dissociated way, which means we're pre-teaching it. And then we start to slowly do behaviors or actions in our life which are not the end goal just yet, but the small steps. Because after you do the small steps, those then become the big leaps in your transformation. And that also really cements that rapport with your system. So what we got to do is really in our mind just reteach and re-educate ourselves. That is a profound way of making changes. And that is something that I really like to do. Now, another thing what I like to do is begin to think about how you want to be, okay? So we know we've done the hallucination, but then I want you to think, okay, if I do achieve my goal and outcome of whatever it is, fill in the blank, what will that get me? What will it give me in terms of experiences, whether it be internal things? So if it was, say, public speaking, we go, okay, well, if I was great at public speaking, what would actually happen once I've achieved this goal? Well, maybe I'll get a job promotion. I'll get more self-esteem. I'll actually feel good enough and worthy. In fact, I can take that confidence into relationships. I can take that into other situations. And actually, I can build upon that. And we start to begin to just branch out of all the good things which will come if we achieve our goal. Now, when we do this, we're supercharging our mind and body to make it more lucrative for you. It's almost like we're leveraging our system to go, look, it's not about just this goal. If I achieve this, look at all the other things it'll give me too. So we're expanding upon all the things that you'll get having achieved your goal, whether it be letting go of an issue or whether it be achieving a goal. Because when you think about the rehearsal, if you're rehearsing your goal, then your brain is actually getting the new pattern. So it's regardless if you've got an issue or if you want to achieve something, we apply the exact same process of getting our mind to actually rehearse exactly what you want and getting back into rapport, understanding the intention. And then we begin to think about all the things that that goal will give us, which then when we think of that goal, makes us feel like, yeah, this is something that I really want. It's of value to you. And that's the key. When anything is of value to you, when there's like a high energy attached to it, your body, your system is actually ingrained to seek more of it out. So if you have a high value for money, or if someone does, the chances are that person will be far more money orientated. If you have a high value for family life, the chances are that person or you will be actually have a better family life, or like you surround yourself around family and so on, because that's a high value to you. Now, if we can begin to map over high value into your goal, or your goal of letting go of an issue, you'll then be increasing the energy, you'll be increasing the motivation. That will cause your brain to seek out the results exactly how you want to go. But then again, there's other things we can begin to do, because if we just say understand the intention, we then begin to take the rehearsal, we take inspired small steps to our goal. We begin to really supercharge our goal. What other things we can do? Maybe things like our self-talk. So what things go in our mind when we go about our issue or we think about our goal? Maybe we think, oh, well, I don't think I'm able to do this. or maybe I don't have the resources, or I'm not good enough still. Those thoughts can still creep in. So when those thoughts come in, it's your job to do what? To focus on what you want and to begin to rehearse what you want. So we can apply these things in so many ways. We can do it in our own time or when the goal or the issue begins to happen, okay? So if you think about your goal, the doubt comes in, it's your job, your responsibility to redirect your focus, rehearse, and really supercharge as to why you want to be like you want to be to achieve that goal. Or if you want to let it go of an issue and that anxiety maybe creeps in, or that fear or that doubt, then it's your job, your responsibility to go, hey, not this, but that. Rehearse, understand the intention, and supercharge. When we do this, we're getting everything back on track. You're re-educating your mind to absolute success, to unleash your potential. This is a process that I always do, and the results are truly remarkable. So go ahead and do that. I think you're going to really, really enjoy the results that you get having applied them into your life. So I look forward to speaking to you very, very soon. And I've got another video coming up, and it's all about getting the success that you desire. And it's got hypnosis tracks attached to it, and you're gonna really love it. I mean, there's something that I sell for $199 usually, but now I'm giving it away for free. And it's all coming very, very soon. So have a wonderful day, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Many thanks and goodbye.